Okay.
Yeah, you should be good to start the meeting now.
Thank you, Alicia. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Committee of Adjustment hearing of today's date, March 27th. My name is Barbara DeBreen, and I'm the chairperson of the Committee of Adjustment, and I call the meeting to order at 9:01 a.m. The committee members include members of council. However, we sit at this table as the Committee of Adjustment, not as members of council. Our jurisdiction lies solely with matters of consents and minor variance applications. The secretary of this committee is Alicia Milne. This is a hearing to consider applications for minor variances and consents within the Township of Southgate and is held under the provision of the Planning Act 1990. This hearing will be in accordance with the Provincial Planning Act, the Municipal Act, and the Township of Southgate official plan. Can I get confirmation of the agenda as circulated? Jim? Martin? Any questions? Any opposed? That is carried. Declaration of pecuniary interest? Seeing no hands, I'll remind the committee they can declare it at any time should something arise throughout the meeting. Adoption of the minutes. Can I get approval of the minutes from the previous meeting? I'm trying to find out what the date of that was. Sorry, adoption of the minutes, February 28th, 2024. Monica and Martin, thank you. Any errors or omissions? Any opposed? That is carried. Report PL 2024. Oh, reports of municipal officers. Yes, we have a report, PL 2024-019, that the Committee of Adjustment received the staff report for information and that the committee approved the implementation of the standard conditions wording for consent applications. Could I get a mover and seconder to put that on the floor? Jim and Martin. And is this Victoria or is this Alicia?
Oh, sorry.
For both, yeah.
I can go ahead. Bill's just has a family emergency today, so
Thank you,
I'll be
Victoria.
stepping in. Yeah, no problem. So bringing this forward for severance. They'll be split subject lands into the 18.5 hectare severed farm lot.
Sorry, Victoria. Sorry, we're actually on the staff report about the wording for our conditions statement.
Oh, okay.
We're not into the planning files yet.
Okay.
Do you want to take that or Alicia?
I guess, yeah, Alicia, apologies.
Alicia, okay. Go ahead, Alicia.
That's okay. I don't have a whole lot further to add to this one. I feel like it's pretty detailed in the report there, why we would be implementing this. It just helps with consistency across all of our consent files. And then it also provides the applicant to comply with township satisfaction or other agencies. It's just something that we have been working to put in place to standardize across our consent applications.
Wonderful, thank you. Are there any questions from the committee? Monica, then Martin.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Oh, can you hear me okay?
You can now,
Okay.
thank you.
Awesome. So just with regards to like flexibility for unique cases, has there been any parameters that are be put in place for special conditions beyond the standards that do, consent applications that come in?
Yeah, so through the chair, thanks for the question, Monica. So every application will still be reviewed on a case-by-case basis, and specific conditions could still be implemented based on what the proposal is. This is just a general standardized list that would go with each one, just to help make sure we don't miss anything and that it is consistent across the board. But in certain circumstances where a proposal is quite unique, then yes, there's still the opportunity for us to impose specific conditions to that proposal.
Thank you.
Thank you. Martin.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Thank you, Monica, for that question. That was the first one I had on my plate. Alicia, this applies to big developers and small developers, like everybody who puts a thing in, because I noticed you in the one part that it says parkland dedication, $500 per lot or percentage. Do you come along that very many times in smaller cases? That looks like it's more of a subdivision thing, but that's the only thing I really noticed. And it doesn't mention anything about septic. It's all municipal works. So if you can clarify that for me. Other than that, I agree with it because it is streamlining the process. So thanks.
Thank you, Martin. Go ahead, Alicia.
Yeah, through the chair. So it is primarily, we're unique and we're mostly rural. So you're not seeing those larger consent applications. The parkland dedication is more towards subdivision applications. And that's included in development agreements for those larger projects as well. And then in regards to the septic comment, I don't know all the standard conditions off the top of my head, but I do remember having conversations with our CBO, Bev Fisher, about the septic. It might have been, sorry. There's just a condition that the septic system isn't in between lots. So that is in there to make sure that when a consent application is being brought forward, the surveyor confirms that the septic is meeting the setbacks and is on one parcel, not split between the two. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. I wrote down notes and I did mention in my notes about the septic, and I guess that's what I saw. When I reread it this morning, I couldn't find it. It was a blur.
Yeah.
So, but thanks for the clarification, Alicia. Thank you.
Welcome.
Are there any other questions from the committee? Monica, go ahead.
Thank you. Yes, just to follow up, for financial obligations for consent applicants, in terms of people knowing what the cost will be, how is that obligation will be fulfilled from the township for applicants to know?
I believe it's in the application form and based on our fees and charges, but Alicia, if that is incorrect, could you please clarify?
Yeah, and just a follow up for that, like before they submit and all of that, like they will know exactly the cost and all that.
So through the chair, the fees for the application are outlined on the application. However, when we do pre-consult with applicants, we do advise that a survey would be provided at their cost, and that all the legal fees incurred to create the deeds and actually register the new parcels will be at their cost. And depending on the development, if water, sewer, road construction, anything like that, it would be brought up at the pre-consultation stage, and they would be well aware that that would be at their expense, as well as any entrance permits, upgrading any entrances. That's all received through comments during the application process. So all throughout the application process, they are aware of the fees that are going to be required.
And just to follow up, just to one more. So with regards to that, thank you for clarifying that. That's very important. So when the applicant submits, they're understanding there could be additional costs. And if there are additional costs and they decide not to go through with it, the application fee still stands. There's no reimbursement and all of that. Is that?
Through the chair, it would be dependent on how far into the process we have gotten into and how much staff time, if a public meeting had been held, there may be opportunity for return of fees, but it would be on a case-by-case basis.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good question. Are there any other questions from the committee? Jim, I can't see you, so I'm going to be calling for any opposed. Oh, any opposed? I see no hands. That is carried. We'll now enter into the hearing portion. I ask that anyone speaking about an application to state their full name and address for the record. Please keep all remarks relevant to the consent or minor variance application before us, as the Committee of Adjustment has no jurisdiction on any other matter. Any materials submitted to the committee for viewing will remain the property of the Committee of Adjustment and will be available for public viewing in the application file and may be placed online. Please direct all remarks and questions to the chairperson of the committee, that's me. This will enable the hearing to be conducted in an organized manner. Our first file is B1-24, Paul H. Shirk. The purpose of the application B124 is to sever the subject lands into two proposed farm lots. One, a severed lot of plus or minus 484 meters frontage on Gray Road 14, plus or minus 385 meters depth, and plus or minus 18.5 hectares lot area. Two, the retained lot would be plus or minus 385 meters of frontage on Southgate Road 12, plus 523 meters depth alongside Gray Road 14, and plus or minus 20 hectares lot area. The effect of the proposed consent application B124 is to split the subject lands into two farm parcels with less than the minimum lot area required in the Agricultural 1 zone. Notice of rezoning application C4-24 issued separately for a pending public meeting to address minimum lot area required in the zoning bylaw. Location of the subject land is concession 9, lot 13, geographic township of Proton, township of Southgate, civic address 112017, Gray Road 14. Is there a request for deferral or withdrawal of an application? Alicia?
There have been none received, Chair Dobreen.
Great, thank you. We can proceed. May I please have clarification that the sign was posted?
Yes, the sign was posted and notice was circulated in accordance with the Planning Act.
Thank you. I will now ask our planner, Victoria Mance, to speak to the application and present any comments received.
Thank you, Chair. Again, apologies for jumping the gun a little bit earlier.
Okay.
So let me, I think I'll look at some comments first and then some final comments from Bill's report. So Grey County is looking for the applicant to provide MDS calculations. Also feedback required from the Conservation Authority based on subject lands because of the hazard lands. County environment staff also direct that no site alteration during the bird active nesting season. And county transportation staff include that as a condition, a daylight triangle measuring 15.24 meters shall be conveyed to the county at the intersection of Gray Road 14 and Southgate Road 12 and conveyed at the expense of the applicant. As well, an entrance permit must be applied for future entrances and proposed buildings maintain a 75-meter setback from the center line of the county right-of-way. Enbridge Gas had no objections, but is subject to future amendment. Historic Saugeen Métis, no objections, and Township Public Works asked for a 3-meter frontage widening along Southgate Road 12. Let me pull up the words. Okay.
Okay.
So again, it's the severed lot will be created in a rural and hazard designation. And then the small retained or the retained lot also includes agricultural designation to the southeast corner. Lot creation allows for one severance per original 40 hectare. And if that this would meet the requirements for A1 severance and other standing conditions regarding access to the highway, parkland dedication, if applicable, and meeting financial conditions of the township. If council has any questions, I can try and address them.
Thank you, Victoria. Were there any comments from the public?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Okay, is the applicant in attendance? And if so, would they care to come forward to present their case? Would, okay. I believe Christine Loft is on the line. Is there? All right, we'll carry on. Are there any others? Sorry, do any of the members of the committee have any questions? Martin.
Thank you, Chair. This is for Victoria. Page 26 of the report. I don't know if anybody can see it, but maybe Alicia can bring it up. I'm just getting so confused with all these severances for these farm lots because, you know, agriculture A1 that goes all the way to A7. A7 is pretty bad land. So I'm looking at this map showing the two, and we have A1 agricultural to the east, A1 in the 20 hectare lot, then it goes to rural, and then on the other side of Gray Road 14, it's rural and agricultural, and this is one of the things that kind of sticks with me. If it's rural, it's not agricultural. Is it something to do with the zoning that these things are being made? Because there's going to be another on-farm diversified use. And I always thought the on-farm diversified uses were strictly for agricultural, not rural. Am I right there, or am I getting totally confused with all the zoning numbers? Because, you know, is rural agriculture less than A7 agriculture? Like, what's the split? And if that's the case, we can't do anything about it, but I really would like some confirmation on there because I've been looking at it and reading it. And
So
I'm not
let's
a planner.
try and get Victoria to explain the A1, 2, 3. They have various categories, and rural is still agriculture. It's
Okay.
just a different grade or class of agriculture. Victoria, would you please answer Martin's questions?
I'm not sure what you're referring to for A7, but A1 is the zoning, and then rural is the land designation under the official plan. Yeah, so that's where it might be a little bit confusing with the map. So the A1 zoning is referring to the zoning bylaw, but the rural, when we look at it, it's split between agricultural and rural. And I believe it's the severed that would be rural. Apologies, both of them.
Okay.
I'm wondering if Alicia, could you bring up the page 2 of the staff report? It shows the lot as being split. There is hazard land. There is, I'm in the right file. There's hazard land. There's A1. There's rural. There's an existing shop. There's an open drainage ditch, and then the severed parcel has a proposed building site. It has hazard land. It has mixed bush. And so the one above that, I think.
Yeah, through you,
Alicia.
Chair. I think where the confusion might be is the mapping that's included in the report. It shows the zoning. So just above that one, that was the applicant's site plan. So on that site plan, it shows rural, which is referring to the official plan land designation. And then in the site plan above is A1 zoning. So that's might be where it might be a little bit confusing. So on the site plan from the applicant, showing the official plan land designation rather than the zoning.
Mhm. Does that answer your question, Martin? Not really? You're muted, Martin.
My apologies. It does and it doesn't. The hinge pin with me is even if it's zoned rural agricultural, A1, A3, A2, these things are getting so smaller that my question is, does the farm support the on-farm diversified use? Because that's not policy. The farm is supposed to be helped by the on-farm use. And the smaller we get with these, I just can't see the farm supporting, and with rural, we don't need that farm number. So I realize it's going to happen, but it's just that policy thing, it's kind of, we live in gray, and it's a gray area, I guess, but that was my point anyway.
Thank
For
you.
you, Chair. Yeah, thanks, Martin. I think
Yeah.
in this regard, it's just addressing the consent application at this point, and then we can answer more of these questions during the rezoning application.
Okay.
And this is the difficulty when, just a moment, Monica, this is difficulty when the planning meeting is coming after, where we're going to get an explanation on
Yeah.
the rezoning. And the Committee of Adjustment is to grant or refuse the consent application to sever. So I'll go to Monica.
Hi there. Thank you so much again. So through you, Chair, I just had a question regarding the infrastructure and access. So if we take a look with regards to the report noting that access to both the severed and retained lots will be off Gray Road 14, just to provide clarity, how will the new access points off Gray Road 14 affect traffic and road maintenance, and who will cover the cost of any necessary road or drainage improvements?
Through you, Chair, I believe County Transportation did have comments on it. They do review traffic requirements, I believe. There was nothing that was flagged, but they did ask for a daylight triangle, and that's conveyed at the expense of the applicant.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions from the committee? So I have a concern that this new trend that we're seeing in undersized parcels. We attended a politicians meeting on the weekend whereby the OFA, Gray Federation of Agriculture, Bruce Gray Federation of Agriculture, can't stress enough the importance of viable farmland and the carving up of these farms in order to support industry is creating a little bit more difficulty. We have the ability to restrict it to 20 hectares, which is only 50 acres. Well, actually, it's just under 50 acres. The cumulative effect of these on-farm diversified uses on our roads, our infrastructure, as well as a 50-acre parcel from the OFA. This is from the OFA, a 50-acre parcel. If they were to say that they are going to graze animals, for instance, a 50-acre parcel has limited MDS and manure storage capability. That is from the OFA. I'm not creating this, but I do have concerns that this is just going to open the floodgates to more and more applications for splitting our 40 hectare parcels. I do have my question to staff or to the planner is the original retained lot, then the 20 hectares has an on-farm shop. What were the conditions of that on-farm shop? Was it based on the lot being 40 hectares?
For you, Chair, I think it's based on the original Crown Survey lot size, but I'm not entirely sure.
And the original Crown
Apologies.
lot survey would be what?
I believe it was 40 hectares.
So now we have gone, if we allow this existing on-farm shop, is that now in contravention of what the previous committee would have granted? And I don't even know how long that was ago.
Through you, Chair. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah. Okay,
Through the chair, we
Um,
would have to look back at that zoning bylaw and see what the conditions were stipulated in the bylaw at that time of that on-farm diversified use being approved by council. If I may, I would also note that this proposal does meet our Southgate official plan, as it is in the rural designation. And this applicant is to speak to the severance of the lands. Yes, there is a rezoning application for the same parcel to be heard this afternoon that is to address the undersized lot. There is nothing speaking to it being the severed parcel being rezoned for an on-farm diversified use at this time. That is just speculation. Thank you.
thank you. Except I think I read it in their application. But yes, we're not dealing, they still have to come for a rezoning for that. But sorry, to you, Alicia, then, you're saying it meets our OP, but we're here because it's less than 20 hectares.
Through you, Chair, I believe it's 20 hectares and then 18.5.
Right, 18.5 is less than 20 hectares. And our official plan requires a minimum farm parcel to be 20 hectares. And that's why we're here today, correct?
That's correct.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. Are there any, did Monica, you had your hand up?
Yes, thank you so much. So I guess just to add to the conversation about agricultural viability, I did have like a comment about that. So I do appreciate the discussion there. And I'm not sure if there could be an answer to this, but just wanting to make sure, that these smaller lots will contribute to the township's agricultural output, which I believe that Alicia just mentioned, just spoke to that right now, and that they meet the provincial policies on maintaining the viability of agricultural lands. So I guess my question was, which I think was kind of answered already, is how do the proposed smaller farm lots ensure continued agricultural productivity and comply with provincial guidelines for preserving agricultural viability? And I do concur with the comments about the politicians meeting. This was very highlighted. Was there anything further to add to that, or it was pretty much already answered?
Victoria?
Through you, Chair, yeah, I would say that was, yeah, pretty much answered, but I understand the concern from council. But again, as Alicia mentioned, there's no mention of on-farm diversified use. It does specify farmstead in the application, but yeah, we can, if you have further questions at the rezoning, we can address them.
Okay.
Thank you. Are there any others in attendance that would like to speak in support of the application? Please unmute and state your name. Okay, are there any others in attendance that would like to speak in opposition of the application? Please unmute and state your name. I will again ask the committee members if there is a requirement for further discussion. I won't be supporting this application. May I request a mover, seconder to grant, refuse, or defer the application? That would be up to the committee to unmute and move to grant, refuse, or defer the application.
I
Jim?
move grant.
Sorry, you
I-
broke up.
Move to grant.
Do I have a seconder? Monica, you're going to second it? Okay,
Yes.
I'm going to read the conditions. The motion is to grant the application. Be it resolved that Committee of Adjustment receives staff report PL 2024-023 for information. The application for consent be granted subject to the following conditions: that the existing zoning of the severed and retained parcel be addressed through an application for relief on lot area and any other site and building regulations. To the standard conditions regarding parkland dedication, driveway access, and similar apply as recommended by other agencies and the township departments, including that all requirements of the township, financial or otherwise, be addressed to the satisfaction of the township staff prior to issuance of a certificate of consent. We have a motion to grant. I'm going to call for a recorded vote. All those in, Alicia, did you want to, because only those who support the application can sign the consent, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so any opposed?
So Martin, you are opposed?
Martin?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes, sorry.
Those in favor, then? That is a
Yes.
tie. I believe that fails. Is that correct, Alicia? Don't think we've ever been in this situation before.
No, we have not. I'll just have to clarify.
Thank you. We'll let Alicia look. We may have to go back and
Yes, through the chair, that does fail.
okay. We may see this again, I guess, but thank you. I will, the decision of the committee was to grant, but that motion failed. So I guess that is a motion to refuse the application based on that it failed. We've actually never had a tie vote, so all new territory for us. That concludes that application. We'll move on to the next file, which is A2-24, Solomon and Celinda Martin. Or in the file, let's see, A124, correct, Alicia?
That's correct. It is A124 for Solomon and Celinda Martin.
Thank you. The purpose of the proposed minor variance is to decrease the amount of outdoor storage and increase the maximum combined size of structures associated with the on-farm diversified use approved in bylaw 2014-064 for the subject lands. The agricultural 1 exception 333 zone permits a 676.3 square meter workshop, 35.6 square meter office, 711.9 square meters total, and a maximum of 500 square meters outside storage, outdoor storage. The applicant proposes to increase the maximum combined size of structures from 711.9 to 904 square meters and decrease the permitted outdoor storage from 500 to 310 square meters. The effect of the minor variance would be to increase the maximum combined size of the structures to 904 square meters and decrease outside storage to 310 square meters for the on-farm diversified use on the subject lands. Excuse me. Just opening the file. Location of the subject land is concession 2, SWTSR part lots 198 to 200 RP 16R9480, Part 2, Geographic Township of Proton, Township of Southgate. Civic address is 260187, bracket 260185, Southgate Road 26. Is there a request for deferral or withdrawal of the application, Alicia?
Through the chair, there have been none received.
Thank you. We can proceed. I will now ask Victoria Mance, our planner, to review all comments received and present the staff report. Or did we want to, I noticed that there is the planning report. How did you want to proceed, Victoria?
Through you, Chair, if council would like me to review comments and then Christine Loft can do her presentation.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay, so we have Grey County comments. It is recognized that the site is considered a significant groundwater recharge area, but no potential impact. It would be negligible, so the requirement for an EIS can be waived. As well, site alteration required for the development should be limited to the outside of bird active nesting season, so April 1st, August 31st. And also, they support compliance with Endangered Species Act. No further comments from county ecology, and the proposed expansion of the on-farm diversified use would meet county size requirements. They also support the increase to 904 square meters for the gross floor area for the on-farm diversified use, and no further concerns for the application. Township Public Works entrance requirements include existing commercial paved entrance on the load restricted road. Saugeen Valley Conservation Authority, their comments include compliance with the Conservation Authorities Act. They believe there's consistency with the natural hazard policies and the PPS, and they have no further concerns. And that is all comments received. I can pass it off to Christine Loft if she wants to present.
Good
Welcome,
morning.
Christine. Good
Thank
morning.
you. Good morning. Thank you through the chair to committee. My name is Christine Loft and I'm representing the applicant. I do have a brief PowerPoint. Do you want me to share it or will staff share it on my behalf?
Alicia, how would you like to proceed?
Christine, I've given you control. You should be able to share your screen now.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm just trusting this is the right one because I have all three up on my. Are you seeing the PowerPoint screen?
Seeing a lot of everything.
Let me try that again. Is the PowerPoint up now on your screen? Yes? Okay, thank you. So the property is 260187 Southgate Road 26. The subject lands have a lot area of 33.4 hectares and a lot frontage of 505 meters on Southgate Road 26. The lands are adjacent to Grey County CP Rail Trail. There are existing residence and outbuildings, and the property has access to Southgate Road 26. This property does also have a consent severance that was taken off that committee previously dealt with. And so I just, if it's looking familiar to you, I just wanted to point out that there was a previous severance on this property. In terms of the variance, the ask is to vary section 33 with exception number 333 to increase the maximum combined size of structures to 904 square meters and to vary section 33.333A to decrease the maximum total area for outdoor storage to 310 square meters. So there is a zoning permissions on the property today for the on-farm diversified use. And we're really decreasing from the outdoor storage and utilizing that outdoor storage space to now become indoor storage space. And so it's being, it still maintains the policies within the Township of Southgate official plan as well as the County of Grey official plan. Just in terms of some site photos, this is from the west end of the property from Southgate Road 26. And on the right side, on the east side of the property, or east end of the property from Southgate Road 26, and looking in on the access to the existing buildings. And so just in conclusion, the proposal does meet the 4 tests. I did provide a planning report, which I think was primarily read just in the introduction of the application. So in our opinion, the application does maintain the current zoning provisions. It simply shifts from outdoor storage to indoor storage. And this is to accommodate raw materials and finished product that it's the preference of the applicant is that those finished pieces are not sitting outside and that they're within indoor space and outside of the elements of nature. And so those are my comments. I'll stop sharing my screen and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Christine. All right. So you're the applicant. Do any members of the committee have any questions? Monica.
Good morning
ahead.
again, Christine, through you, Chair. So thank you for reviewing all of the requirements there. I just wanted to touch on the proposed changes fitting in with the goals and rules for agricultural 1 exception 333 zone. So is that all being covered in what you had just described?
So through the chair to the committee member, yes. So the existing zoning is in place. We have remained, and so when that exception was put in place in a previous amendment, the square footage for outdoor storage and for building size maintained the official plans. So now the ask is simply to shift between indoor and outdoor. So ultimately, we're still meeting both with the official plans, and we're also meeting the provincial policy guidelines, the agricultural uses, which talk about the sizes of on-farm diversified uses. And so to your question about maintaining overall agricultural overarching policies, by maintaining those, the 2% on-farm diversified uses through the agricultural policies that's come down from the province, we are still maintaining those agricultural, overarching policies that are within the official plans.
And just to follow up.
Sure.
Thank you, Christine, for that. And I appreciate you saying, speaking to that, because the main focus, what I was thinking about in asking that was just to make sure that the changes benefit the farm's operations without negatively impacting the surrounding area.
And through the chair.
Yes, go ahead, Christine. Sorry.
Thank you. Through the chair to the committee member, yes. And so the change is still within the farm cluster that exists today. So there would be no farmland removed from farming for this change.
Perfect. Okay.
Martin, did you have a question?
Oh, yeah, thank you. Good morning, Christine. Looking at the site plan, I have no problem with this. It's just a case of switching around, and they usually do use have metal or wood products, which not be conducive to outside storage. The on the little blocks you have in the proposed storage shed, is my one question, is the sap shanty still going to be there?
Through the chair to the committee member, yes, it is. And to your point about uses, then it's for steel and parts, where the preference would be that it's inside.
Yep. Okay. Thank you.
So I would like to clarify, we're not changing the footprint of the farm structures. And this, I believe we have stated that this is not to become an extension of the actual manufacturing facility. It is for just to provide covered storage as opposed to outside storage. Who monitors that? Or, I mean, it's not actually attached to the actual power room, or it may have a breezeway there, but how do we manage that? It's a condition, obviously, in our consent. Christine?
Thank you, through you. So in terms of monitoring, I mean, staff may have to answer that on behalf of the municipality. However, if there was any building permit required, which I actually don't have the answer to that specifically, if there's any changes that would be required to the actual structure, a building permit would be required, and in follow-up, then that would be monitored through the building permit. But I'm not aware of any follow-up that your municipal staff would complete on a regular basis on any on-farm diversified uses. I would think it would only be by way of complaint that bylaw enforcement may be investigating.
Wonderful. And I did note in the staff report that it is not to be part of an extension of the manufacturing portion. It's just covered storage. So thank you for that. Are there any other questions from the committee? Okay. Is there anyone in attendance that would like to speak in support of the application? Is there anyone in attendance that would like to speak in opposition of the application? Do the committee members have any other questions? May I request a mover and a seconder to grant, refuse, or defer the application? Martin, what are you?
I move to grant.
Okay. Monica, will you second that?
Yes.
Thank you. Are there any opposed? Oh, I'm going to read the conditions. Hang on one second. Got big on me. Here we go. Be it resolved that the Committee of Adjustment receives staff report PL 2024-020 for information, and that the application for minor variance be approved subject to the following conditions. The 191.6 square meters covered storage proposed in the sap and shanty shed not be used as part of the on-farm diversified use workshop, office, power room, etc., and that outdoor storage correspondingly be reduced to 310 square meters. And number 2, that covered or outdoor storage be further reduced by 44.6 square meters to recognize the power room. Any opposed? That is carried. The decision of the committee has been to grant the application with the conditions as stated. The applicant shall have 2 years in which the conditions must be met. Thank you. We'll move on to the next file. We good to continue? We don't need a break? Carry on. All right. We have A2-24 Cutway Inc. The purpose of the proposed minor variance is to decrease the amount of outdoor storage and increase the amount of indoor storage associated with the on-farm diversified use approved in bylaw 2012-049 for the subject lands. The agricultural 1 exception 289 zone permits a metal fabrication and welding shop with outdoor storage of 500 square meters and maximum combined size of structure of 750 square meters. The applicant proposes to increase the maximum combined size of structures from 750 to 940 square meters by adding 190 square meters of inside storage and decreasing permitted outside storage from 500 to 310 square meters. The effect of the minor variance would be to increase the maximum combined size of the structure to 940 square meters and decrease outdoor storage to 310 square meters for the on-farm diversified use on the subject lands. The location of the subject land is concession 2 SWTSR part lot 2021, part lot 221 and part lot 222, geographic township of Proughton, township of Southgate, with a civic address of 220270 Southgate Road 22. Alicia, is there a request to defer or withdraw the application?
Through the chair, there have been none received.
Wonderful. We can proceed. I'll now ask Victoria Mance, our planner, to review all comments received and present the staff report.
Thank you. Through you, Chair. Grey County comments include that the site is considered significant groundwater recharge area and influences highly vulnerable aquifers. But again, the impacts would be negligible, so the requirement for an EIS can be waived. Also, they ask that site alteration required for the development be limited outside of bird active nesting season, which is April 1st to August 31st. Otherwise, they feel that the applicant should follow Endangered Species Act and no further concerns from county ecology. They've reviewed the application and they feel it meets county on-farm diversified use size requirements. And further to comments, we have no concerns from the historic Saugeen Métis and township public works. Entrance requirements include a commercial entrance be installed on the load restricted road. And Saugeen Valley Conservation Authority, they believe consistent with natural hazard policies in the PPS and consistent with Grey County OP and Township of Southgate policies for natural hazards, and no further concerns from Saugeen Valley Conservation Authority. So I'll pass it off to Christine.
All right, I will just ask, were there any public comments received?
Nope, none that I'm aware of.
Thank you. Christine, would you like to present your planning report?
Yes, thank you. So I am representing the owners, Cutway Inc., and I do have a brief PowerPoint that I will present now. So this is a minor variance. The property is 220270 Southgate Road 22 in the township of Southgate. The property has a lot area of 42.5 hectares and a lot frontage of 1,100 meters on Southgate Road 22. There is an unopened road allowance on a portion along the portion of this property as well. The property is adjacent to Grey County CP Rail Trail. The buildings are existing, including a residence and outbuildings, and access is from Southgate Road 22. So this is similar to the previous application. There is an existing on-farm diversified on the site today that was approved by council through exception 289. And so the proposal is to vary section 33289B, which is to increase the maximum combined size of structures to 940 square meters, and to also vary section 33289 subsection E, which is to decrease the maximum total area for outdoor storage to 310 meters. So similarly, we're still meeting the 289, we're just shifting from outdoor storage to indoor storage so that parts and finished product can be inside a covered building. Just some photos taken from the road on both sides, and then the end of Southgate Road 22, just looking into the unopened road allowance, and from the south end of the property from Southgate Road 22. So just in conclusion, I did provide a planning report and went into more detail about the calculations around on-farm diversified uses that come through the provincial policy statement and the agricultural uses, and how it conforms to both of the official plans. And so it's my opinion that the proposal does meet the 4 tests. And that's the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the committee at this time? Monica, and then Martin.
Thank you. Just through you, Chair, to Christine. Thank you for your comprehensive report. I enjoyed looking at that. Just with regards to communication with the MECP, and to the point that you just, the last thing that you just mentioned, has Cutway Incorporated initiated communication and contact with the Ministry of Environment, Conservation and Parks to address the potential endangered and threatened species policy requirements?
Through the chair, no, we have not, until such time as there was actually site works and we know that we're not cutting trees within appropriate timelines, etc. So we would not have direct communication with the ministry.
And just to follow up, thanks. So with that said, that's something that would possibly need to happen at another stage, just not right now.
Through the chair to the committee member, I'm not aware that we would be contacting the ministry. I'm not sure if staff, if you're referring to a comment that staff read, but I'm not aware of any ministry communication that we would be having moving forward It would simply be a building permit if there were any changes required to the structure.
Okay, thank you.
Before I go to Martin, I might be able to clarify from a conservation perspective. It is a standard application, but these are existing buildings, correct? And so because they would have already complied in order to meet those obligations in order to create the buildings in the first place, my understanding is that no new structures are being created other than to enclose the outside storage that is part of that lot area. Is that correct, Christine?
In this case, it would actually, just through the chair, it would actually just shift the outdoor area into a structure. So yes, certainly if there was a building permit required for even changes to the existing building and there was a conservation authority permit required, we would be submitting to the conservation authority. But in this case, I'm not aware of any further permits.
Thank you. Martin?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Christine, I'm just looking at the 2020 aerial image, and you said there is another building on the northeast corner, I guess, as it's shown. I'm looking at page 78 and then 79 of the of what we have.
Martin, are you looking at page 2 of 3 of the staff report that shows the site plan?
Could be. Either way, with the increased storage, my point, obviously there's a building there and they just want to add to it to increase. But in the aerial photograph from 2020, I can look at the there's going to be a lot of trucks coming in there. I just hope even by looking at the aerial map where the trucks come in and their turnarounds, that another extension on a building is not going to hamper that part of it. Other than that, that'll come up later, I guess. But other than that, again, we're just swapping out. So I guess I'm fine with it. Just safety issue, I guess, in the long term.
I'm not sure we can address that. It would be part of their site plan, and delivery means. Christine, could you elaborate? I am looking at page 2 of 3 of our staff's planning report, and it shows outside storage near the yellow portion of the shop. Alicia, could you put that on the screen perhaps? And then above that is an accessory structure where they're proposing indoor storage. Which section of the outdoor storage is being given up in order to allow for that indoor storage, or is that additional indoor storage? I'll wait for Alicia to get that on the screen. It might make more sense. Unless you can speak to it, Christine.
I'm actually not exactly sure what drawing you're looking at, but in terms of the site plan, the area to remain is in a hatched, and the area not hatched would be the portion to be removed. And to the committee's point, to the committee members' point about safety, I mean, we hear you, the applicants are on the line. So we'll certainly take that back with us in terms of your concern about safety. So yeah, the hatched area, the outdoor storage hatched area would remain and just be cut back. And that's actually a little bit zoomed in. There is a broader
Yes,
area on the site plan that would be, that would be removed.
Alicia, could you shrink the image so that we can see the pink portion at the top of the page? There we go. And a little bit more. So that's what I was questioning. It says proposed outdoor. I'm having trouble reading it myself. It says there's an accessory building with proposed indoor storage. Is that
through the
yeah,
chair?
go ahead.
So that's the area that would become the indoor storage, and then a portion of the outdoor storage would be cut back. I haven't actually shown that on the site plan, just keeping in mind that these are all open, hard surface areas. So it's not like we're actually it's going to be defined, but certainly the applicants know that they need to maintain their outdoor storage now at that 310 square meters in order to comply.
Thank you. All right, are there any others in attendance that would like to speak? We've done the support. Anybody who wants to support the application? Anyone who wants to speak in opposition of the application?
I just have
Oh,
one.
now, yes,
just
go
one
ahead,
more
Monica.
yeah,
Just
thank
getting
you.
there.
No
Yeah, go
problem.
ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I just wanted to thank again, Christine, for the information. Just through you, Chair, just taking a look at compliance and zoning requirements. I know there's been mention about it. If it would be possible just to further clarify, if you can just elaborate on how the proposed changes will comply with A1289 zoning and the broader objectives for the Township of Southgate's official plan, especially regarding the size limits for the on-farm diversified use. Because I know that with these applications, a lot of ecological considerations, impact on surrounding land use, and just mitigation of potential environmental impacts. When we take a look at that, compliance and zoning requirements are coming up a lot more than before. So was there any further highlight or comment just to kind of extract that that understanding that would be benefit for those watching and also for a committee?
Yeah, sure.
I think, Christine, we're speaking about an existing structure that's already been approved, and if you could speak to maybe how that farm parcel is calculated when yeah, I'll let you answer that, but I think it's in line with how does the existing zoning that we've permitted and the structures in that block, does that impose any further restrictions on surrounding lands? Is that what you're asking, Monica?
Yes,
Thank you.
that's it.
Okay, so through the chair to the committee member, so just sort of starting at the top of our policy documents, we are looking at provincial policy statement. We look to the agricultural permitted uses, which sort of provides us as planners with the details of on-farm diversified uses. So I have went through that in my planning report. I'm not going to go through it right now. I think you've read through that in terms of the calculations and maintaining what the province defines as being permitted for on-farm diversified uses. And overall, it keeps it in a compact form on the property, or what we would call sort of a farm cluster. And so the proposal maintains that farm cluster. The building is existing, and all we're doing is shifting from outdoor storage to indoor storage. The farm cluster is maintained. No farm lands are coming out of agricultural production and or being changed at all. So the proposal, the minor variance does maintain maintain consistency with provincial policy. It therefore conforms to both of the official plans, which is really, I mean, that was the most critical part of the planning report. And I think when we first took these files on was to make sure that that this minor variance is simply shifting within the confines of what council already approved in the exception that's on the property. So in my opinion, it does maintain conformance with both of the official plans, and maybe even more importantly, maintains the provincial policy directive through that permitted use document.
Does that answer your question, Monica?
Yes, thank you.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Christine. All right, hearing no further. Oh, Martin, did you? Oh, so I need a mover and a seconder to grant, refuse, or defer the application. Martin?
I'll move to grant.
Jim, will you second that? Thank you. The decision of the Committee of Adjustment is to grant the application with the following conditions. Be it resolved that the Committee of Adjustment receives staff report PL 2024-021 for information, and that the application for minor variance be approved subject to the following condition: that 189.12 square meters of covered storage proposed in the accessory building not be used as part of the on-farm diversified use workshop office, and that the maximum outdoor storage be reduced to 310 square meters instead of the maximum 500 square meters allowed in the previous rezoning. Are there any opposed? Seeing no hands, that is carried. The decision of the Committee of Adjustment is to grant the application. The applicant shall have 2 years on which the conditions must be met. All right, we'll move on to our next file, A3-24, RS Mar Inc. The purpose of the proposed minor variance is to decrease the amount of outside storage and increase the total. I'm on the right file, right, Alicia? Having a deja vu here. The purpose of the proposed minor variance is to increase the amount of outside storage and increase the total floor area of the on-farm diversified use approved by bylaw 2010-030 for the subject lands. The agricultural 1 exception 244 zone permits a metal fabrication shop of 750 square meters, outdoor storage of 500 square meters, and a combined maximum workshop and storage area of 1,250 square meters. The applicant proposes an 895 square meter metal fabrication workshop, 355 square meters outside storage, and to maintain a combined maximum workshop and storage area of 1,250 square meters. The effect of the minor variance would be to increase the metal fabrication workshop from 750 square meters to 895 square meters and decrease outside storage from 500 square meters to 355 square meters on the site subject lands. Subject lands are located at Concession 3 SWTSR part lots 201 and 202 RP 16R8397 part 2 Geographic Township of Proton, Township of Southgate, with a civic address of 260184 Southgate Road 26. Alicia, is there a request for deferral or withdrawal of the application?
Through the chair, there have been none received.
Thank you. We'll proceed. I'll now ask Victoria Mance to review all comments received and present the staff report.
Thank you, Chair. So starting off with Grey County comments, again, this property is considered a significant groundwater recharge area. But they believe the impacts would be negligible, so the requirement for an EIS can be waived. It's also considered a significant groundwater recharge area. Site alteration required for the development shall be limited to outside of the bird active nesting season, again, April 1st to August 31st, and advise applicant to support compliance with the Endangered Species Act. No further comments from county ecology, and they believe the county on-farm diversified use size requirements are met. No further comments or no concerns from the historic Saugeen Métis. And Township Public Works Department asks that entrance requirements include an existing commercial paved entrance on the load restricted road. And the Saugeen Valley Conservation Authority had no concerns. They believe it's consistent with natural hazard policies of the PPS and the Grey County OP and Township Southgate policies for natural heritage or natural hazards. And I'll pass it off to Christine Loft for her presentation.
Victoria, were there any comments from the public?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Thank you. Christine, go ahead.
Thank you. I'll just share the PowerPoint. So this is file A3-24. The property is 260184 Southgate Road 26. The property has a lot area of 22.7 hectares and a lot frontage of 329 meters on Southgate Road 26. The property is adjacent to Grey County CP Rail Trail. The property has an existing residence barn, shop, and outbuildings. And the access is from Southgate Road 26. I guess, sorry, we're on a corner here, hence the reference to Southgate Road 75. So this proposal is to vary section 33.244, subsection I, to increase the maximum combined structure size to 895 and to decrease the maximum outdoor storage space to 355 square meters. So this is a proposed structure, not currently existing. And a portion, there is a small area that is existing today that will be demolished, and that's identified on the site plan. And the purpose of this indoor area is to utilize it for proposed office space, and the area that is being demolished is currently used for office. The applicant is looking to have a bigger office space. The current staff are cramped in the small area that's shown on the site plan, and the preference is to allow them to have a little more room. And also there are some staff members who are not able to work on site because of the limited size of the office. So this additional space would allow the staff to all locate on the property, and the outdoor storage area would then be reduced to accommodate the slide between the outdoor storage and indoor space. So a little different than the previous applications, but generally the policy structure, reducing the outdoor storage and allowing the indoor space to be used. And to the point of maintaining the actual manufacturing would be maintained within the existing shop area, and that this additional space is not used for manufacturing. Here's just some site photos from Southgate Road 26 facing southwest, and on the right-hand side then facing from the northeast, and the south end of the property, and then a photo of the north end of the property. And so I did provide a planning report, which again goes through the details of the provincial policy statement and the permitted uses in terms of percentages and sizes of the property. In my opinion, the proposal does meet the 4 tests, and that again, we're within the confines of the existing exception on the property, and the variance is simply to shift from outdoor space to indoor space. And the purpose of this application is for office space, and that the manufacturing is maintained and not expanded. And those are my comments.
Thank you, Christine. Do any of the members of the committee have any questions at this time? Martin.
Thank you, Barb. Christine, I did read the report, but you are confirming that it's not going to be used for manufacturing, because, you know, that might be down the road, but it's quite a big building, going from one office that was 35 3/4 in size to one that is, you could fit 6 of them in the new office. So that's quite a big office. So that was my only comment. Other than that, I don't have a problem with it if it is not going to be used for manufacturing. So question and comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine.
Thank you. Through the chair to the committee member. I think we agree with you. When we were doing the initial review, it was assuring that we were staying within the confines of the existing exception on the site, and that the manufacturing would be maintained. And I think in terms of the committee member, a building permit will be required, and certainly your internal inspection would be ensuring that that building is not being built for a manufacturing purpose, and that it's being built for office space. So I do think the municipality certainly has the ability to ensure that happens through your building permit process.
Thank you, Christine.
Thank you. Monica?
Yes, just through you, Chair, to Christine, just to the point of the previous counselor regarding the size, that was also one of my questions. So going forward, is this staff accommodation based on the current staff? And is there a consideration that if they were to grow, is there something in place that, basically what I'm asking, is this going to take into account if future staff are hired? And also what mechanism could be implemented to ensure that the expanded office space remains dedicated to the office use and not converted into a workshop space, in line with the conditions set for the variance approved? So it's kind of a 2-part question. Is this for current and anticipating future staff? And what mechanism will be in place to ensure that it stays office space?
Christine?
Thank you. Through the chair to the committee member. So this is for existing staff members, but many of the staff members are not able to work on site, so it will allow them to all work under one roof. So I think that is the response to your first question. And secondly, I understand the committee's concern. Again, a building permit is required, and so the municipality building staff will have the ability to approve plans and to complete follow-ups and occupancy with regard to the addition. And secondly, through the staff, I'm not sure what the municipalities, if the building department visits on-farm diversified uses, on an annual basis, in order to ensure compliance. But I think that's perhaps an internal discussion to have to assure committee that what the compliance mechanisms are for on-farm diversified uses. Certainly in other municipalities, I'm not really aware that municipal staff actually are visiting on-farm diversified uses, on any type of regular basis. And I think the applicants understand the confines of the policy documents and what their approvals permit, and certainly my experience is work towards ensuring compliance at all times. And that's why we're before you today, is to ask for the variance and be open about what the use and what the change is between outdoor to indoor.
Thank you. Does that satisfy you, Monica? Great. Is there anyone in attendance that would like to speak in support of the application? Is there anyone in attendance that would like to speak in opposition of the application? Do any of the members of the committee have any further questions? All right, I need a mover to grant, refuse, or deny. Jim, what is your
To grant.
wish? To grant?
Yep.
And a seconder? Martin? Be it resolved that the Committee of Adjustment receives staff report PL 2024-022 for information, and that the application for minor variance be approved subject to the following condition. 1, that the office floor space be approved at 180.7 square meters instead of 222 square meters requested, and that office space never be converted to workshop. That outside storage be 355 square meters maximum, reduced from 500 square meters, so that the combined on-farm diversified use floor space and outdoor storage be maintained at 1,250 square meters as per the existing A1-244 zone. Any opposed? Seeing no hands, that is carried. The decision of the committee was to grant the application. The application shall have 2 years in which the conditions must be met. Thank you, Christine. Thank you, staff. I need the motion. The notice of decisions from today's meeting will be signed electronically by members and distributed accordingly per the Planning Act. The committee decisions may be appealed pursuant to Section 17D. That is a D of the Planning Act within 20 days of the date of the notice to the Ontario Land Tribunal. I need a motion to adjourn. Monica and Jim at 10:19. Any opposed? That is carried.